first to look at his definition of prisons as a place that confines someone or involuntarily restrains them. His interpretation explodes the debate and makes debate impossible. By his interpretations, prisons could also mean schools, since they restrain a lot of people. Instead, we must look to the common sense definition grounded in the framer's intent, and that is that prisons are, according to dictionary.com, a building for the confinement of persons held by awaiting trial, persons sentenced after conviction, etc. We need to force prisoners to make amends, but this actually is not going to happen with the prison system because of high recidivism rates. We need rehabilitation, and I agree, but we can't do both rehabilitation and prison. The main reason is because money runs the world. LA Times explains that rehab programs are being cut at prisons because of budget issues. We are already trillions of dollars in debt. We can't afford to do both rehabilitation and prison. Thus, we abolish prisons and go to the other options, which focus on rehabilitation. He gave 3 options to help reform. You can help treat prisoners' addiction, or have them working behind bars, or revise sentencing as reform. While the person being addicted can actually be better suited through the other options, as that is the main focus of it. Second, working can actually take jobs, and especially hurt the economy when we're in a recession. And then finally, revising sentences, this can happen with the other options. He identified the Prison Rape Elimination Act in 2013. This was 12 years ago. According to the New York Times just 4 days ago, 80,000 people are still raped every single year. And half these sexual assaults are against prison staff. They are the ones committing it. Prison is the problem. If we go to these other alternatives, this rape won't be as a huge issue, because probation will interact with a lot of the staff. Community sentencing has a different focus than prisons. He says, I know bring up how much money we'd put into the probation system, but I say in my speech that it'd be $3.50 a day, according to the Washington Post. He says that the cost to build these community sentencing facilities would be high, and yes, it would, but we could take the money we are spending on prisons currently to the building of this, and so thus this would actually work out in the long run. The cost would be better with the options. Reform is the option he keeps bringing up, but the system's so broken. He says if we abolish, we'll let mass murderers get away, but actually our judicial system probably wouldn't allow for that, and they just go into the system which is replacing prisons. He says I'm not accounting for violent criminals, but actually I am, because I'm not saying that we need to do one system or the other system. We can both do probation and community sentencing simultaneously. The violent crime committers can go to the community sentencing where the non-violent criminals get probation. He says the example of Western Europe doesn't work since they have prisons. And yes, they do have prisons, obviously. But I was using that to show that our prisons are not being effective as we are incarcerating a huge amount of people. Thus, we should go to a better alternative. Probation offices will not overflow because the violent people and the murderers will not get probation, but the other alternative like community sentencing. Probation is more effective, so it would be closer to other countries around the world with their crime system. Right after we abolish prisons, these other systems may not run at 100% efficiency, but over time they will become more efficient. And so thus we must affirm the resolution.